over to our Deputy Project Director, Nikki Murphy, who will give us a project update. Thanks, Nikki.
Hi, thanks, Sophie. Hello, everyone. Yep, for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Nikki Murphy. I'm the Deputy Project Director working across the whole project. So everything from the fundraising through to clinical strategy, through all the different work streams, trying to make sure that they're all talking to each other and we are one single project across the university, the CRUK, and of course the CUH colleagues. So before I start about the project update, I just really want to take the opportunity to say thank you to everyone for your involvement in the project. It really is very important. And just to really reiterate the importance of this staff reference group, we have lots of different ways of engaging with different patients, but each and every one of them is really important so that we do hear your voice and we do listen and make sure we are acting upon those comments. So thank you. So this form is really about us providing an update, but also you asking us any questions you've got. Please feel free to do that at the end, challenge us, and we will listen. And if there's any questions we can't answer, we'll come back to you afterwards. And then lastly, really just to make sure you know who we are, so that if you want to get involved in the project or you've got questions outside of today, that you feel like you can come and contact us. So please, thank you for coming, and please do remember those 3 key reasons for why we're here. Okay, so moving on to what's been happening in the project, we have had an incredibly busy period over the last few months. I think you're probably all aware of the kind of business cases that we have to complete in order to unlock that funding from the government. So there's 3 of them. There's a strategic outline case we submitted a couple of years ago. We were approved. Our outline business case we completed and submitted at the end of last year, and that's just going through the approvals process. But we're getting lots of really positive feedback and support from the new hospital programme, from our regulators regionally and nationally. So hopefully within the next 6 to 8 weeks, we'll have that final approval. But why is that so important? It's critical, really, because it's a signal from the government that they're really backing our project, which is important for our fundraising, but also just for the general momentum of the project, that we know this is actually going to be happening. So yes, that's really important that we've got that OBC in and being approved, but we've already started on the final stage, which is called the full business case, which is really kind of articulating where everything's going to be in the building, all kinds of different elements, and I'll give you a bit more information on that in a moment. So OBC is in. We've also submitted our planning application, our full planning application to Cambridge Council, which is important, obviously, in order for us to be able to build the project. So that'll go to committee in July. Again, we've had lots of really positive feedback on that, so hopefully that will go through smoothly. We had a big and important visit last week from the new hospital programme, who are obviously funding a large portion of the project. So they sent all their really senior bods up to meet with senior stakeholders from the project, and they gave us lots of really positive feedback as well. This is all very positive today, but it has been a lot going on for us recently. And again, it's just that indication of support from the government behind the project, which I think is important for us to remember, that all the hard work that's going on has a really good reason. I think the other thing that's really happening at the moment is we're just in the process of procuring and appointing and choosing our public sector construction partner. So that's the team that are going to work with us in the next phase and potentially even build the hospital. So we've done a really robust, quite long procurement process, and we're just shortlisting. We're down to final 4 and hoping to bring the final chosen team on probably in around May, June time. So that will be really important, because they'll be focusing on helping us the next stage as we move into RIBA 4. That's the Royal Institute of British Architects next stage. That's in getting even more specific around where things are and how we're going to actually build and construct and run the hospital. And they'll also be kind of reviewing our costs and making sure that we're on track with all that. So that's a big thing for us as a project and a very exciting development. So what does the future look like for us? So full business case, as I say, we're going to have to be working on that really intensely over the next period. That involves articulating what our benefits are, but also how we're going to realise them. We've made lots of claims around what the hospital will deliver and why we need it, but now we need to be able to say, OK, that means this department's going to do this in this period. But we're doing that really closely together with the division and with our colleagues to make sure it really is realisable, please in the name. What else comes under this FBC banner? We have to look at how we're going to be transferring services. So we're working closely together with you and our colleagues on how we will do that, practically speaking. We'll be looking at things like commercial arrangements and what opportunities are out there. And crucially, we'll be looking at our workforce, making sure we're really planning and preparing and looking at things like training so that we are ready to go when the hospital opens. So a quick update from me. I hope that covers off a lot. If you've got any other questions, I look forward to hearing them afterwards.
Thanks, Nikki. That was brilliant. So I'll hand over now to Elaine Chapman, the lead advisory nurse for the project, who will update us on the engagement work that the project is happening.
Lovely, Sophie. Thank you for introducing me. I think most of you are familiar with who I am. Been around for a very long time now. So just in terms of engagement work, we just wanted to kind of like update you around how we're involving patients, staff, and kind of a little bit of a update where we are with fundraising. So we continue to co-produce the Build, the CCRH project with our patients, and we have the patient advisory group for this, and we're also involving our cancer patient partnership group, and there is a network group as well that's open to anybody in the region. Our PAG group are running a monthly design meeting, and this provides an opportunity for the PAG, the CPPG and the network members to come together to really test and challenge elements of the building that we see as being reasons for making sure it's going to be really effective. So examples of meetings that we've had. So in January, we covered the commercial element of the building, and this was looking at the income generation that might be achieved through pharmaceutical, medical devices, artificial intelligence and machine learning developments. Also retail opportunities in the building, and also looking at perhaps supplying our clinical services to other health providers and an element of private patient work as well. And then in February, which Ellen will tell us a little bit about perhaps, we also brought along the art strategy for the building, and also we looked at the landscaping, because the architects have done some more work on that, and so we use that as an opportunity for patients to have a look at that and provide more feedback, which is great. And that is fed into all of the different work streams, and also we've got patients that sit in projects and work streams across the system, and so they're always feeding back in as well. We're also doing some broader work with the region and with our community groups to increase diversity, as well as feeding back with groups that are already living with cancer. So for example, we've done quite a few events with the Cambridge Cancer Help Centre. For staff engagement, we are planning to increase this, and we want to cover those people that will be affected by working in the building, but also our colleagues across the campus that might be supporting in the running of elements such as pathology, the rapid response team, sterile services, and so on. And so to do this, we are going to be asking you for feedback about how is it best to involve you, kind of conscious that you're all working really hard clinically or in kind of like research capacity. So how is the best way for us to do that for you? And then we are also going to go out to specific groups to ask for comments, things like the art strategy or landscaping, and these will be groups that we already have established in the trust. So, for example, the LGBTQ plus group, Purple, BAME and neurodiversity. And similarly, we're also doing some more community work with our stakeholders as well, so we can get their views in there as well. And at a later stage, we're really keen to develop an organisational development plan. So this will be looking for your involvement in kind of the looking at the vision and the strategy, which has been written very much from a business case point of view, but we want to look at it from a staffing point of view, and also involving our colleagues with at the University of Cambridge, because it's going to be really important that we go into this with a shared culture around how we're going to make research really happen. And then for fundraising, so it has been going through a quieter period, but you will start to see some ACT artwork going up around kind of like the building. It's certainly going to be targeting oncology, haematology outpatients as a start. And then other places will be kind of like confirmed in the near future. And the focus will be to kind of create support for projects that might be happening now outside of CCRH, but then building up a really robust list of contacts so that when we come to doing more of a formal public fundraising activity, then we already have those people, kind of a list of names there for us. So yeah, so that's my update on engagement, and look forward to questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. So we'll now hand over to Ellen. So Ellen is an arts programme manager at CUH and is working on the Cancer Hospital Art Strategy. Thanks, Ellen.
Thanks very much, Sophie. Hi, everybody. I've just got a few slides to share with you, so just bear with me while I share my screen. I transferred all my photos from my phone onto my laptop, and now it's running a bit slowly. Can you see that?
Yes, we can. Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Yes, so I wanted to open, oh, it's not going to do it. Sorry, just bear with me a second. Okay, can you see a quote now? Lovely, thank you. Okay, so I wanted to open with this quote from a patient way back in December 2021 at one of our environment design working groups. He said, "It's about healing. Art isn't an optional extra. It's a core part of the whole patient experience and the staff experience. It's a core part of the whole hospital." And we as an art team are so excited about the possibilities for arts in CCRH and how it can really help to lift and humanise the environment. And we've been doing lots of listening to patients and staff over the past year, a couple of years. You might remember us coming into some of these groups to talk about, we did a Scentscape session, we did one looking at staff rest areas, and we did one more specifically looking at developing the art strategy. And from that, we have put together a strategy for the hospital that includes ongoing creative consultation with patients and staff, a programme of high quality, ambitious and original arts commissions throughout the building, which we hope to embark on very soon. Partnerships with the local arts and cultural community in Cambridge, and I'm going to come on and talk about the work we're doing with the University of Cambridge Museums in a moment. And flexible, digitally equipped spaces to present arts and culture for our hospital users and wider public in lots of really exciting ways. It's just being very slow. Sorry. Maybe I should stop presenting and just tell you about it. Do you think that's better? Not moving on, is it?
Do you want to send the presentation?
Yes.
Send
Shall I send the presentation afterwards? Because yeah.
Or send it to one of us and we can show it.
Oh yes, you could share it, Sophie. That would be great. Really sorry.
Bear with. Let me load it up.
I'll start talking while you're doing it though. So as I said, we've been doing lots of this kind of creative consultation with staff and patients about what they want it to be like, about what they want the arts to do in that building, how they want it to make them feel, the kind of the role that it will play there. And through this work, two really clear curatorial themes have kept coming to the surface. One around the restorative power of nature and how people want their representations of nature in the hospital not to be there to placate or to mask the trauma of a cancer diagnosis, but to offer a really kind of genuine life-affirming connection to the natural world. Thanks, Sophie. If you just go on to the next slide, and actually the next one after that. And then the second theme is around the beauty of science. So we've heard from patients that they really want the arts in the building to instill confidence in the treatment that they're going to receive, and from researchers that they really want to share the beauty of what they're doing. And so we're really interested in what kind of commissions might come out of bringing those two things together. On to the next slide, Sophie. Thank you. So at the moment, I'm running a project with the University of Cambridge Museums, and I know there's a few people on the call I saw arriving who have been at some of these sessions. In fact, I think there's going to be a photo of a couple of you in a moment. If you go on to the next slide, actually, Sophie. We've done this in a series of two. So in the first series, we were looking at colour and nature in the natural environment. So you might remember that in the interior design strategy, the architects had talked about drawing on the colours in the local environment for the colour palette for the hospital. And we thought maybe we could take this a step further and literally take some of the colour pigments from that local environment. So we worked with an artist called Mia Sylvia, who works using colour pigments from the natural environment to dye materials. And we took a group of patients and staff on a walk around the Nine Wells Nature Reserve, which is close to the hospital, and did lots of foraging for pieces of natural material. And then we went to the Botanic Gardens and to the herbarium to find out about them in more depth, and to find out about plants that are used in cancer treatment that are growing locally here. And then we went to Mia's studios and we used all those things that we'd collected to dye pieces of material. And we're now working towards an exhibition that you'll be able to see just after Easter that will run on that corridor from the main hospital to the ATC. That's going to be a big natural colour chart from this that's come out of this work. And on to the next one, Sophie. And then this second series that we're halfway through at the moment is in partnership with the University of Cambridge Museums. And at this one, we're working with them to really think about how we can draw on those amazing collections and expertise that are on our doorstep and bring them into CCRH to really lift that environment. And so we have done a couple of sessions already, one with the Fitzwilliam Museum and one at the Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology. And then we've got 2 more coming up. I've got, I think, just 1 space left on zoology and a couple of spaces at Cedric. So if any of you wanted to join for those future sessions, you'd be very welcome. And I could share that quote, but maybe I'll send the slides out instead. But just to say that there's been lots of really positive feedback from both staff and patients that have taken part. And we're really looking forward to seeing what the next phase of this work might look like, and would love to have all of you join us on that. And I think I can stop there, Sophie. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Ellen. That was lovely. Lovely to see so many happy, smiley faces on those pictures. So I will just stop recording now.